All right, guys. So, welcome back to Vault Conversations. We are on season 2, and we are 3 episodes in now. Very, very excited to keep going with this process. I'm a very big advocate of just starting. So, you put the content out there, you build it, they'll come. But I've just been so honored to be graced with so many amazing people. And today's no different. I have Vanessa. What is your maiden name?
Valente.
Valente here. I thought that was like one of those cute things like share, like when it's like a name, but that's very, very nice. So we have Vanessa Valente here. And the topic today is high value women. And I invited you on because I knew you for a very short period of time, like back 2011-ish, when I first came in the military. And every time I saw you, your hair was together, you were together, like you just had this very collected appearance about yourself. And I was like, wow, what's it like? What's that like? You know what I mean? So when I started thinking about high value women, of course, you follow people on Facebook and you're like, they seem like they got it together. Like, I wonder what her life is like. And so, literally, you were the first person that came to mind. And I was like, I'm going to just shoot my shot. I'm going to ask her if she's going to do it. And unfortunately, you said yes. So now we're here. And so, I would love for you to just tell everybody a little bit about yourself, as much as you want them to know, just what you do, a little bit about where you've been, and just what your life is like these days.
Yes. Okay. So, hi, everyone. I'm Vanessa Valente, and I'm originally from Boston, Massachusetts, but I currently reside in Los Angeles, California. I've been here for about 3 years, and I absolutely love it. The city is for me, for sure. It's very different from Boston, but in the best way. It just constantly forces you to elevate and upgrade. And so I'm very happy to be here. I do government contracting, and I've been doing that for 16 years.
Wow.
I have a bachelor's degree in organizational management and a master's degree in procurement and acquisitions management. And so I definitely try to leverage, the knowledge and the wisdom that's been imparted on me, and just try to build my portfolio in my resume. These days, I try to network a lot, try to find new opportunities. There are a couple of areas that I'm dabbling in that you guys will see me here in shortly. And
Um,
I'm thrilled to work on new projects. I'm all about women empowerment. So thank you so much for having me. And I see us as equivalent. So, you being a high value woman yourself, it was very meaningful to me that you view me in that way. So thank you for that.
well, thank you. So I want to just give a bit of background if that's okay. So I met you back in 2011. We were at Spain Dollar, and we were never like, I mean, our paths crossed, but I felt like we never ran in like the same circles. And so just your life then versus your life now, because when I met you, you were married, and I know, you're not married now. And so I wanted to know how that did that impact you at all in terms of the type of woman that you are? Because I feel like when I see women that get married very young, that becomes a part of their identity. And then when they go through a divorce or whatever, then it's like they're kind of grasping. I'm like, who am I? And
Wow.
sometimes they build up even better than they were before. And we're not throwing no shade, but it's just like that is how it happened. So I kind of want to know what your process was like. Cause like I said, you seem to have it together then. You definitely have it together now. So just kind of like behind the curtains, what was that like for you?
Sure, sure. So I got married when I was 19 years old, and I was married for 12 years. I got divorced when I was 31, and it's been 3 years since that divorce. Now, my husband was 23 when we got married. And, just when you find someone that you're compatible with, emotionally, physically, financially, like you just hold on to them for dear life. So we met in Florida. We got married almost immediately. And it was this whirlwind romance. Well, we wrote it out for a long time, and we were very, very happy, not fake happy. we were genuinely happy. That is probably the safest, most secure that I've ever felt in a relationship. And he really is a good guy. I will never say anything negative about him. He is a really great guy. Now, he's had his indiscretions. However, I just realized that when you get married so young, you don't know how to care and nurture for someone else in the way that they need to be. So now that I'm older, I absolutely know how to take care of a man and how to keep them intrigued and how to support them and build them up. But in my youth, I didn't really know how to do that.
Mhm.
So when I found out about those indiscretions, they had happened a long time ago, but they were new to me, and I just
Yeah.
really couldn't. I couldn't move on from it. It kind of changed everything about the relationship and how I viewed him, and so I ended up getting a divorce in 2019. And then shortly after that, I relocated to Los Angeles. And the dating scene is wild. Like, there is no shortage of men out here. Okay. No shortage. And then, of course, you just want to constantly elevate. You want to make sure that you're increasing your value and that you're redefining and evolving who you are.
Okay, I like that. I love the accountability in your response though, because a lot of times it's easy to be like, especially if you felt like somebody did you wrong or whatever, it's easy to throw it all on them. But I love the piece about you knowing like where maybe you fell short before and just acknowledging it for what it is. Because I think a lot of people, you go through relationships young and it's like, oh, we were just young, but no, you actually ruined my life, and like low key that very much hurt me. So I'm gonna need you to not just say we were young. Like I need you to do all the things. But closures for you and not them, and all the things that you're supposed to say. Um, but yeah, so we're here talking about high value women. You're out in LA where there's a lot of high value men and women. So I want to first know, what is your definition of a high value woman?
Okay, that's a great question. When I think of a high value woman, um, she takes pride in her development and she makes sure that the intellect is there, the knowledge is there, that she's brilliant, that she contributes to her household, that she contributes to, her job, her profession, whatever that is. And even if she is a housewife, she contributes in some way, shape, or form. Um, she's very supportive, she's kind, she's gentle, she's very tactful, right? And
Mhm.
she knows the power of her words. She knows exactly how to make corrections that yield the proper results, right? um she also holds herself in high esteem and she knows exactly what she brings to the table. Okay. She represents her man well, in public, behind closed doors. And she's very intuitive. She can anticipate needs and always stays, one step ahead of the priorities and the goals, whatever they are in a relationship, or whether they're financial or whether they're professional.
I love that. Tactful probably is like where you had me, because I I'm more tactful these days, but it's easier for me to be tactful, with professionally than it is to be in a relationship, because like I said, I give so many chances, but once we there, like we're there, and the tact is out the window, and you can't take words back. So I think just like that skill of knowing what to say, like the bridges not to cross, I think that's super. Um, I think it's super dope, and I think it speaks to probably what I think about the most when I see a high value woman. Like she's never losing her cool. She's always in control of like her surroundings, and aware of what's being said and what's not being said in settings. So with
Okay,
that,
so I just want to caveat this, that that is my definition of a high value woman. I cannot affirmatively say that I practice all of those. I I have fallen short so many times because I do not play about my time. I do not play about my finances. I don't play about my goals. And so the tact isn't always there. Although I know what to do, implementation, application is
Yeah.
definitely a weakness for me as well.
No, I heard that and I was like, "Yeah, she's right, but am I tactful? Maybe, maybe not." But no, okay, so then switch, and I want to know what you view as a high value man because, we had what was oh boy, that just passed away, like, last year? Um,
Kevin Samuels.
Kevin Samuels, and so I would listen sometimes, but sometimes it just got too much for me, but I also realized, like, I'm not gonna hold you. I don't come across men with like a whole bunch of money and all that. So I don't even know what it means to be in those circles. But I will say that I appreciate people who whatever they value the most, they give some of. So, like, if you've never been with somebody with money and they're giving you money, but they got money to blow, like, what is that really saying? But if you don't have a lot of time, then, I appreciate your time. If you don't have a lot of money, wow, that sucks. But, I appreciate what you can do. And to me, the value comes in like what they're willing to the value to me anyway. Cause a girl said like I don't care what you have if you're not spending like the way it transfers to me. That's what I view as high value, like of what you have, of who you are, how much are you willing to share that with me outside of monetary means. So what does high value look like to you?
You know, I, Whenever I deal with a man, I have one philosophy. You need to make my life easier. And
Mhm.
so I am a acts of service type person. When you just take care of stuff for me, that is just so meaningful and beneficial to me. And I just love when someone is just like, hey, I noticed this and I took care of it. Or, hey, I saw that you were looking at this and here this is. And so you're right, it isn't always monetary. But the Bible says, where your treasures are, that's where your heart is. And so a lot of time, treasure translates to money. And
Right.
so wherever a man puts his money is kind of what he values. And so I don't want to say that it's necessary for someone to spend on me, but it is a meaningful gesture, okay?
Mhm.
Because a lot of men value their money and they're willing to invest in what it is that they see as valuable. So um I love gestures of love. I love candles. I love roses. I love romance. Now, the best gift that you can give me for real is load your debit card on my Starbucks app and get me coffee every day. Like, I am obsessed with coffee,
Yeah.
right? So when I go to Starbucks, like when you buy my coffee every day, oh my gosh, that is like, baby, oh, I like that is like the greatest gift to me. And it doesn't cost much, right? So, my ex-husband bought me a Bentley, but that was to apologize for something, right?
Mhm.
So it's kind of like, was that a meaningful gift? Yes, but the context in which you gave it, like, brought
Right.
the meaning down a little bit. My ex-boyfriend, I've had vehicles given to me, and those are like overwhelming, but ultimately, like you said, right, when someone has something that's very rare to give and they give that to you, it means everything. Now I've had a dude with everything, you know give me $20, figuratively speaking, right? And a dude with nothing give me $20. And you better believe that dude who had nothing and gave me his last, that means everything to me.
Mhm.
So it's all contingent upon what they have to offer. But I digress. Okay. So a high value man, he's stable in all of his ways. Okay. He's very mentally stable. He's composed. He's patient. Most importantly, he has wisdom. I think a lot of people underestimate the power of wisdom, right? When you talk about um Solomon in the Bible and you see how he implemented wisdom, it's like it's different from knowledge, right? And
Yeah.
so I won't get into that too much, but this man has goals. He knows how to prioritize, and his word is everything. When he says he's going to do something, he comes through for you every time. And if he can't, um, it's with a kind heart. You charge it to their head, not their heart. And so I want to feel safe and I want to feel secure. I want to know that I can let my guard down and I don't have to operate
Mhm.
in this assertive energy anymore. I don't want to have to. I just want to soften up and I want to be
Yeah.
gentle, and only certain men can bring that out of you.
Yeah, no, I think that's very, very accurate. I don't know if you are familiar with Kadeen and DeVal. They have like a podcast. They're like a black millennial couple, and they have like four boys, and he's on Tyler Perry's like Sisters, and like he's an actor for, lack of better words. But just, they started doing like videos and stuff of their family and how they raised their family, and even their relationship, their marriage. And I just always admire like everything that you just said from the outside looking in, of course, is what I feel like he emulates. Like he always creates spaces for his wife to be whatever she wants to be. Like after all the kids, he's helping her get back into shape so she can feel like herself. He's doing all of the things so that she can be her best self. And then in turn, it just seems like it's so easy for her to support him with his, crazy acting schedule. Anything that he wants, like she's like, without a doubt, I can give that. Um, but I feel like in the dating scene today, and I can't even, I haven't had like a super robust dating life, but it just seems like men want everything for damn near nothing. Like they want you to be, all of the things that you are for kind of like as little as they can give. But of course, that's my experience. And that's why I like to talk to other people and see what they're experiencing, because it just it's not like one experience and now I'm jaded. Like I see that, I listen to people about what they talk about, and it's just like, why are you going through this? Like, why are these men really, really like this? But then I see some and they, it's whatever you want. And I'll just be like, what is she saying to these men out here? Like, what is the secret? So I kind of want to know, when you meet somebody, how do you know that they are serious? Like, how do you know their intentions are there? Because like I said, if they have money and they're taking you out on nice, dinners, and you're going on trips, how do you really know who to give your true and genuine energy to? Because I feel like that's another piece of knowing like who to spend your time or waste your time or whatever you want to call it on, especially if you are somebody that has multiple people like trying to pursue you.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and so my requirements have changed over the years, of course, and now I am a lot more selective with my time.
Mhm.
And I can know within, probably a few times of speaking with you whether I want to spend more time with you. And I don't waste a lot of time. It's so difficult. Um, when you can give yourself everything, and I'm talking like not just materialistic. We're not talking just, we're talking when you can give yourself peace, when you can give yourself comfort, reassurance, like when you can get like that confidence, like when you have that internally and you're not seeking it from outside sources. It's really hard to tolerate anything less than what you deserve. I can tell within the first few conversations whether someone is worth my time or not. Energy, like effort, right? So, how much effort are you putting towards making my life easier? If I tell you, hey, I have several meetings today, and you're like, well, you know what? Let me just stop by and bring you coffee, or hey, do you need something from the grocery store? Let me do this. Then you might get a little bit more of my time.
Mhm.
And it's not a reward type of game, but like you do something that I like and you get rewarded. Like it's wooing. I'm very traditional and you must put forth effort, right? Planning dates and dinners. I'm so over dinners. I've gone to hundreds upon hundreds of dinners, right? I'm so tired. I want to go to amusement parks. I want to go to
Yeah.
festivals. I want a picnic. I want to go bachata dancing. Like I want you. The more like authentic you are. Sense of humor is so important to me.
Bro.
Just the more creative and genuine you are, the more of my time that you get, and eventually it will progress.
Yeah, I think that's interesting what you were saying about creativity and stuff like that. Being in San Antonio, I meet different crowds of people, but I feel like when you're especially maybe overseas, I don't know what your experience is like, but like it's hard to meet people outside that have like in real life. You know what I mean? So you meet military men and maybe they're like senior NCO of the year. They're, what head of their whatever. I don't know. I don't care. But then you ask them like what they like to do. You ask them what they care about, what they're passionate about. And they're like, I mean, I don't know. Just like I like taking care of the people. What? Like, who are you outside of this? And so I think that that's is so important. And even not to get so spiritual and religious, but like asking for what you want is so like in actual detail because God has jokes, but like asking for what you really, really want and being
You are
specific.
so right. Oh
I
my
like
gosh, you're so spot on.
there's never been a time I remember, and I think I've told the story one other time. There was a guy that I was dealing with 5, 6 years ago, whatever. And in a very casual way. Like he wouldn't know whatever. But point is he called me average. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, but and honestly, at that time he was not wrong. Like there was that way you talk about educating yourself, the way you talk about like being up on things, being aware of things. I really was not that. I think on the tail end of leaving my relationship with my son's dad, and I was just trying to like figure out what was up from down. And he wasn't wrong. So going into who I wanted me to be, I was so specific. Like, I want this. And if I meet somebody, I want them to appreciate these things about me. And I want to naturally be this and be that. And I was. And I've done a total 180. I hate actually running into people who knew me like in certain periods in my life because I'd be like, wow, crazy times, right? But I say all that, and then I wasn't specific about what I wanted in a partner. So I was coming across these people and it was like I was these things but they freaking weren't. And I was like, God, you knew what I meant. You knew what I meant when I said it. And so being specific about um those characteristics that you were speaking out and actually believing that you can get them because there was a period of time where I didn't feel like not that I didn't deserve love, everybody deserves love, but that I couldn't get a certain caliber of man, if you will. And I just think that that comes from I'm not super traditional, but I came from a very traditional family. Like all my aunts married 20, 30 years. Everybody's like, I was raised to get a man and to start my life from there, buy your property, do whatever you're going to do. Um, after that. And I tried to apply that and I feel like it backfired. So then I became this super independent, whatever. And then that backfired because I just felt like I wasn't approachable. I wasn't soft. I wasn't tactful. I hated men. I was like I did somebody would just a man would look at me and I'd be like, ew, just very jaded, very bitter, if you will. Um, so I kind of wanna scale it back because I just kind of went all over the place there. But I wanted to scale it back because from what you're talking about, I want to know what your upbringing is like. And I know that's like super left field. But as you were talking, I was like, I wonder if she's always valued these things. Like, how were you raised as a woman? And then how did that impact your outlook on men? And how has that backfired on you or is it working pretty well? Like,
Mm.
did your mom teach you to like groom yourself and keep yourself together at all times? Like nails done all the way or nails not done all the way? Make sure your underwear look, like how was your view shaped as a woman early on and then now?
Yeah, yeah. My mom, she was really, really strict. Um, I wasn't allowed to do things that other girls were allowed to do. So she was really grooming me to be I hate to say it, but like a trophy wife. She
Mm.
knew that, hey, listen, and I don't know if like she didn't really see a lot of potential in me, simply because like statistically where I'm supposed to be based on my background, right? So I come from this type of neighborhood. This is, this is my generational curses. So therefore, I'm supposed to be here, right? In theory. So I think she always just had this plan for me, like, hey, listen, based on our family history, degrees do not run in our family. Success, which is subjective, but success, ownership, generational wealth does not run in our family. So you are going to be, someone of high status's wife. Okay. So I wasn't allowed to like play outside because if I got scars on my legs, then I was like not, you know, um, I was not like that image of perfect, right?
Yeah.
Your nails had to be done a certain way. Your hair had to be done. Like, no, you do not leave the house not put together. You put your face on when you leave the house. You
Wow.
make sure that you sit up straight. My mom was the one who was like, hey, you need dental work. She was the one who was like, you need to lose weight. Still to this day, she does not play about me. She makes sure that, hey, you're a little pale. Make sure that you go out and lay out in the sun. Um, but also, too, she's my biggest cheerleader. She's my biggest
Yeah.
fan. Like, she wants nothing but prosperity and success for me. So she considers herself like Kris Jenner in my life, right?
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, she makes sure that like, hey, I'm constantly like, um, she's not a fan of huge changes, but if it's like, hey, you got little crow's feet coming in, either skincare or Botox, like make sure you get that taken care of. And I do. I listen to her. I was very reluctant when I was younger, and I just hated being a child. I hated it. But now that I'm older, I appreciate her so much more. She had nothing but pure intentions.
Yeah. So how does that you said you listened to her and I mean, things are going well, but how does that, what am I trying to say?
Like impact how I treat or view men.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. So it was crazy because when I told her I was getting married, she was not going for it. No, 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 no. That is not your future. That is not what I planned for you. And I was rebellious, so I got married anyways. Well, she ended up falling in love with him because he really is a good guy, right? And she even at one point had his face as her screensaver. Like when I say she loved this
That's
man,
wild.
yes, she was just like completely obsessed with him. So they got along pretty well. And she was happy that I was cared for,
Mhm.
And so and my husband did treat me like royalty. He treated me like royalty. But in the back of my mind, because I got married so young, I was just thinking like, oh, you did this. Oh, okay. Well, I think I could do better then. I deserve everything that you offer me plus this, so it caused me to walk away a little bit easier than I would now, like as a mature
Mhm.
woman, right? So I look at men now and I think to myself like, okay, they're obviously intrigued by the outer appearance,
Mhm.
but if they don't carry that same stature, if they don't carry themselves above reproach, if they're not clean cut, if they're not professional
Mhm.
looking, then it's not for me. Because she held me to such a high standard, I in turn hold others to very high standards. And then there's no reason to not be happy with who you are. There's so many alternatives out there, just being spiritually mature and that acceptance factor in addition to just self-care that makes you feel good about yourself. So I'm the type, I'll walk around the house just all dolled up because it makes me feel good, it makes me feel better. My nightgowns will be like super extravagant because it just makes me feel more feminine, and because I feel that way, I act that way. So I do. I have a very high standard for men, and so does she. She's married to someone very successful, and my mother didn't even graduate middle school. Okay,
Oh,
she
wow.
was, yeah, but she is like, she knows. from the streets, how to conduct herself, how to carry herself, how to act in public, etiquette, tact, professionalism. You
Mhm.
know, I'm a younger version of her, but she has no, educational background whatsoever. So I learned a lot from her, actually.
No, I think that that's actually it's impressive, but honestly, I admire people who do have street smarts because I'm very book smart. But honestly, it was my son's dad that was like, you don't see that over like made me more vigilant, made me there's so many things that I learned and it made me put education on a different like a different it made me rank it differently. Like these degrees are fine. Yeah, that's great. But if you can't protect me from this crazy looking whatever over here, like what are we talking about? And just how to move in money, in business, in so many things. There's people that are in the streets but are so smart. And if they applied that on a different level,
Crazy.
like what are we even talking about? So um I think we talked about it a little bit, but I want to know what do you value? Like not necessarily in a man, but just in life. Like what are some things that you value?
I value peace,
Mhm.
wisdom, truth, honesty, authenticity. I value spirituality. Um, because in truth, like when you're in tune spiritually, that guides a lot of your decision making. There's a lot of things that are very controversial and are deal breakers for me in friendships and in relationships. And so if we don't see eye to eye, there's probably no potential for any type of friendship there. And so, when you have a strong moral background, when you have strong beliefs and a moral compass, I know that regardless of the circumstance, you are going to be loyal. You're going to be a good friend. You're going to be a strong friend, a strong partner. You're going to be a good leader. I can trust you. My
Yeah.
circle is very, very small, right? But the people that I do have around me, yeah, I could definitely say, I trust them with I can say I trust them with a lot, so I can trust them to make decisions on my behalf. I can trust them to, um, represent me well behind my back. I can trust them to
Mhm.
speak highly of me. And so, yeah, those are the attributes that I value in people. Just personally, I place my spirituality very high, very high. It's the guideline for my decisions. I have a strong stance on abortion. I have a strong stance on homosexuality. I have a strong stance, and all of those societal standards means that as laws evolve, like those change. People's
Yeah.
opinion of them change. People's acceptance of them change. But when you walk a certain path, like societal standards don't change those beliefs. So that's what I place highest.
Okay. Um, so the two things that you hit on relationships and friendships, have you ever had to get rid of a friend? I'm talking like a long-term friend, not somebody you met and like y'all go out and it's cool, like somebody that you thought you were aligned with, somebody you thought represented you well, that they know all your secrets, everything, and then things did y'all grew apart, or maybe they did something, whatever.
You know, very few people know enough about me to do some damage. So
Fair enough.
I am very personal, just in the sense of like the things that would could really betray me,
Mhm.
I haven't given away. Additionally, I don't leave room for opportunities, like during the summer was so amazing last summer, right? And I
Yeah.
had my homegirl come stay for a while, and my boyfriend at the time, he would come and visit often, and there are just things that I feel uncomfortable with. My friend and my boyfriend's relationship, like I had to check that a couple times. Hey,
Mm,
don't ask my boyfriend to do this, or no, hey, you don't do that. Like y'all need to, there was just certain things
yeah,
I wouldn't allow for any opportunity. And it could have been completely innocent. But at the end of the day, I just don't give people the opportunity to betray me.
interesting.
So To answer your question, no, I've never had to cut anyone off that's been very close to me. I've ended a friendship before, but she was still loyal to me, and eventually we ended up reconciling. So she, she maintained my secrets that I had at the time, and
Mhm.
just didn't really turn her back on me, even though the friendship didn't work out. And now, we're still like super tight, but that ended temporarily.
I think that speaks to the caliber of person that you are too, because obviously we grow through time, and finding people that you can go grow through time with is hard in itself. So I think that the fact that we were able to come back together, there that's fine because I've ended some friendships or they ended me, whatever, but it was only because I wasn't as insecure, I wasn't as unsure of myself, I wasn't as whatever anymore. And it's like I couldn't be sure of myself, confident, creative, whatever with them anymore. And that shit sucked. I'm not gonna hold you. Um, because I would have liked to think, like you said, that when you choose who you want your friends to be, you think that they're these things, you value who they are, the whole nine. Um, and so I always ask that because when and I'm first to be like, was it me? Like it makes me question my discernment. So I kind of that's where I was gearing towards next of like when you end a friendship or you end a relationship or whatever. For me personally, I second guess myself and the way I either allow things to happen or the way things happened in general. Do you experience that?
Yeah. Ultimately, especially being in a leader position at a leadership position at work,
Mhm,
you you are a figurehead. Everything is your fault, even if you
mhm,
didn't necessarily do it, right? So let's say some of your subordinates, they have failed in certain areas, right? My boss is going to look at me and ask me why my subordinates failed. And if something doesn't get done, they're looking at me. I take the blame for that. And
yeah,
so that's caused me to always be very introspective. Whenever something doesn't go according to the way that I felt it should have gone, I'm looking at myself first, like, damn, I could have and
mhm,
I should have. I don't beat myself up, but I reflect and I think, like, okay, next time this is how I'm going to handle this.
yeah,
And sometimes I regress, but ultimately it's about that long term change, those small
yeah.
behavioral modifications. And so, yeah, I do look at myself in every scenario and think, like, hey, what could I have done to prevent this?
Okay. So we're gonna skip forward a little bit. Do you feel that I don't wanna call it infidelity because that sounds so serious, but, like, loyalty within do you think that cheating is a deal breaker? Do you think that, um how am I trying to say this? I feel as though I've been in, situations that were open, right? And it's like there's no you set boundaries, it's fine, um and I've never quite experienced as much betrayal as when I give the situation an opportunity to be open, but then I close it and we're doing or they close it, whatever, and we're doing us, and then there's like cheating. I feel like I try to be aware of all types of relationships and, monogamy. I try to hear out the other perspective, because other parts of the world move differently. Um, but I feel like cheating for me now is a deal breaker. It wasn't always. And I only say that because I feel like cheating is it includes deception, it includes lies. I look at your character a little bit differently, like because you had the opportunity to be honest and you don't, so you like sneaking around. So there's like all these different things that go into it. But from your perspective, is cheating or disloyalty in that way a deal breaker?
It's interesting that you say that because I used to say that it wasn't. When I was married, we outlined our deal breakers, and cheating wasn't one of them. And then it happened to me, and I was like, "Oh, hell no. Oh, no, I couldn't deal with it." I thought I could in theory. It
Yeah.
sounds like, "Okay, no, I could get no, oh, hell no." But you're right. You just like you just start viewing that person differently.
Mhm.
You just don't like that rug was ripped underneath you, and you just cannot, you're like, I don't know if I could trust you. Are you over here? Now we have so many
Mhm.
tools that I live in a way that eliminates the need for trust. And I'll explain that. But the Bible says that the eyes of a man are never satisfied. And that's
Yeah.
scary because I do feel like if I were to allow that or accept it, it would only breed more damaging, toxic behavior.
Mhm.
And so, no, absolutely, that's a deal breaker for me. I wouldn't tolerate that. And then on top of that, the type of woman that I am, you talk to me and I will give you what you need. You need spice? Let's spice it up. I'm
Mhm.
not for inviting other people into the relationship or into the bedroom, but I am open and flexible for everything but, like even if my man wanted to go to a swingers event and watch other people, or if they wanted us to be watched, like I would consider something like that. You just
Yeah.
have to talk to me, tell me what you need, and I'm very like, you take care of me, I take care of you. You want to try this? Let's dabble. Like I'm down
Yeah.
for whatever. So infidelity with me, no, 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 no. That's not gonna, no, no, no. I couldn't get past that. Now, when I mean by I live in a way that eliminates the need for trust, I was in a long distance relationship. And when I say I have cameras around my house and my man had access to them, he could check in on me at any point. My location is on. You FaceTime me and I do not miss a call. Like we could fall asleep on the phone together, going to bed. Like
Wow.
you do not have to worry about me. So just that type of access, just provides that reassurance.
Dang, that's a lot. Because me and my fiance were currently long distance as well. And I remember he proposed the camera thing, and I was like, that's a bit much because I'm the type of person you open that up if you want to. Because I'll be like, no, okay, yeah. Were you at work or were you just not in your apartment? You know what I mean? Like it just like a dog with a bone. And I think that everything that you were saying, like, yes, I will try anything once, probably even twice if like I had a good time, whatever. I'm very, very open. But I feel like men always feel the need to lie because a lot of women are I wouldn't say a lot of women. If you talk to men, they'll say a lot of women aren't just open to this. So they feel the need to lie. They feel like it's a trap when you're like, nah, it's really, yeah, we could go to the adult playground. Like it's fine. Everybody relax. Um, but then you still experience the other stuff. And that's why I'm like, no, I think cheating is a deal breaker for me because there's no reason now for you to be that way. I will say I won't break my back to be something that I'm not, which is something that I did probably in like my first relationship. Like whatever, I mean, whatever. I don't care what you want. Like, let's do it because I wanted it to work so bad. I was desperate.
Wow.
But excuse me. But like I said, that was my first relationship. That was my first time being in love. That was all of that. And I saw that no matter what I did, even against my like something that I really wasn't comfortable with, it didn't make him stay. It didn't make him loyal. It didn't make him any of those things. And so it just was like, wow, that's unfortunate, but it also made me so much stronger in, okay, well, do you like this? Yes or no? Is it frowned upon? Sure, but I like it, so we're here, and these are the things um, that I'm comfortable with. So, I don't know, I like to ask women that a lot because depending on where you're at, you'll get the, like, cheating is absolutely not. Some places you'll be like, "Yeah, I mean, let's open it up, be whatever," but, because we're talking about high value women, I wanted to know how you viewed that scenario, and I think that the way you explained it is perfect because like you said, if you're doing those things, there is no need for that. You can always be honest. You can always tell me what you need. So I think that that's interesting. So we talked about how you were raised to view relationships? Was there any emphasis on what your focus should be growing up? And I think you kind of spoke to that in that your mom saying you should be a trophy wife. And I know you said you didn't like your childhood, but what were the things that you cared about? Like my mom gets kind of the same way. She won't go to the grocery store without putting a face on. Me, I will walk out of here in my sweatpants right now. It's like not even a thing. And that used to really bother her because I just didn't value that back then. So what were some of the things that you feel um that you are more into that you've carried with you, even if it wasn't to the extremes of like what your mom wanted, things that you're like, no, I'm gonna stick with this. I like these things.
Um, well, being married, I didn't feel the need to always like have to go out of the house dressed up. I found my individuality, I found my comfort, and I am
Mhm.
comfortable leaving the house without makeup on. I know exactly who I am. The thing about LA is that you never know who you're going to run into. And so that's a very like dangerous,
Mhm.
game to play going anywhere and not being completely, put
Yeah,
together. But
yes.
I'm confident, and so additionally, I would chew the meat and spit out the bones. Like there are things that she wanted me to do, environments that she put me in, golf courses. We would drive like 45 minutes out of the way to go get coffee in a specific area because, you know,
Mm.
um, certain high profile individuals would go get coffee over here in neighborhoods. We'd go like she would definitely place me in certain environments to where it was like, hey, okay, so you sit here long enough, like somebody's going to come in here and definitely ask you out. Like she was very strategic with her movements, right? So now, if I'm looking, depending on what I'm trying to do, right? I consider myself well balanced. I
Mhm.
love super upscale, classy events, but at the same time, too, like my favorite turn up song is Finito. So I I can do both, but I know where I want to go when I'm ready to, be wined and dined and romanced. And I know where I want to go when I need a little bit of toxicity, a dash of ratchet. So, um,
Duality.
yes, exactly, exactly. So, just with my mom, she's just very, when I say like chew the meat and spit out the bones, she just had certain things that like you don't do this, but that generation was different from kind of how we
Mhm.
function now. So I just I found that balance, and I'm very confident, and she's very proud of who I've become, which means more to me than anything.
Yeah.
um I think she still wants me to be settled down. She doesn't want me dating like that. She's worried. She texts me like, are you home safe? Is your alarm set? And so I do want to give her that piece of knowing that like, hey, I am dating, but I'm more overprotective of myself than you are of me. And then lastly, I had this overwhelming desire to prove her wrong. You want me to be a trophy wife? Why? I can do this.
Mhm.
I can provide the lifestyle that I want to live. I can have my independence. I don't have to be. I feel like my mom may be a little restricted because, she has a husband that she must respect and boundaries that
Mhm.
she must abide by. And that's not my life. Like I move to the beat of my own drum.
Yeah.
So I was rebellious in that area. No, 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 no. I can get an education. No, I will be intelligent. I will
Mhm.
achieve these goals. And so yeah, again, balance.
I think that last piece is so, I resonate a lot with that simply because I feel that my mom, like I said, they're very traditional, very whatever, but they can only see like through their lens, like from their perspective. So a lot of times it took, like you said, like your own, like, nah, I'm gonna go do this. I remember when I was about to buy this house, this is my second house. I bought my first house at 24, and it's like people just where I'm from, that's not what they're doing, and I was very nervous, and so when you speak about your mom and how she has all this confidence and everything in you, not that my mom didn't have confidence in me, but she just very much believed that's a move you make once you have, a husband, once you have things to support you, but I was already a single mom, so it's like what am I waiting for? Like at this point, I'm just trying to provide for, me and Cam so we can have a good life. And there's been a lot of things that I pursued in life where it was just me and God. And I was like, hey, you got me because I'm about to go. I'm about to do it. And I swear to God, if I fall, like I don't know what I'm gonna do without you. And that's just how it's had to be. And in a lot of ways, like my biggest thing, like you were saying, making your mom proud. I love when my mom is like I inspire her. Like I inspire her to go and do the things that she's scared of. Like I'm a DIY person. I'm not gonna wait for anybody to come and fix whatever, like I fully believe in myself. I fully believe in my capabilities. And I, like you were saying with the new generation, I just think that that's something that's different. Like I said, most of my aunts are married and they're great men, but they lean on that union a lot. I'm not quite sure if they would be who they are without them. And so I value my independence. I value my identity a lot, but I also feel that that gives off masculine energy sometimes.
Sure.
And that I struggle with femininity a lot. That's why when I see women that are so put together, I'm just like, wow, like and not just put together, but they exude that feminine energy. I just sit back and watch because I'm like, not that I don't have it, I'm sure I could if I really put in the work, but I wasn't groomed like that. And while I know that was stressful or, whatever for you, I wish that I was like, even learning about my cycle, and I didn't learn any of that stuff from my mom. So it's just like, I'm just out here raw dogging life, hoping and like figuring things out. Um, but as far as your femininity goes, what's probably the thing that you could say you've learned the most in your feminine journey? Like maybe before it was just keeping yourself together. Like you said, now it's your tact, it's your knowledge, it's your wisdom. Or matter of fact, let's change the question. What has been your hardest thing to I guess, tackle in being feminine? I know we talked about the tact, but other than that, like,
That is going to forever be, my weakness and my struggle. I just have such a low tolerance for anything that is not favorable um, to my life, right? So if I do not like the terms and conditions of the relationship or the friendship, that's it. I cut it off. And I think that that's not always the right way to handle things. I've struggled with communicating my thoughts respectfully, and if it yields the type of change that I'm looking for, then we can continue. But if it doesn't necessarily result in what I need, then I'm not afraid to walk away from anything. That's the beauty of independence, is that
yeah.
um, you just like that. Hey, I've been doing this a long time by myself, and therefore, your presence needs to add value. And if it doesn't add value, then I have to gracefully bow out and say that this isn't for me. And
Mhm.
so I need to work on my patience and tolerance with people. I have to remind myself constantly that it's not always about me.
Mhm.
Sometimes I have to serve others too. And I notice that the more generous I am, the more blessed I am. The more thoughtful that I am, and the more that I sacrifice, I get way more in return. And so just maintaining my standards, but also giving equally, if not more, than what I'm receiving.
That's beautiful. I like that a lot, actually, um, for several reasons, but I don't know, I just sometimes when you come from a scarce mindset, you're like, "No, I need everything that I have, like, I can't afford to,
That's
like I
right.
can't afford to give anything out because, like, what if I don't get it back?" But literally, the more you give, the more you just the more you give of yourself, in any capacity, I have found the more that you receive. And
It's
even
the
like
law of attraction.
okay, I'm glad that you said that. Let's talk about this real quick. So I know you talk about spirituality a lot. And I feel from the generation before us, they get whatever because we're not religious. Like we're not in church on Sunday every Sunday. We're not, going to Bible study every Wednesday. But I have done more development in my relationship with God on my own, just in my personal experiences with Him than in any church at any pew. But I also read a lot. And the Four Agreements and the 48 Laws of Power. Um,
Oh my gosh, that's such a Machiavellism. Oh my Machiavellism. Oh my
Bruh, but I'm
gosh.
so
Okay.
serious. It changed my entire outlook. And I was like, yo, I definitely believe in faith. I definitely be still and know that he's God, like all of those things. But my manifestation of life became so much stronger after listening to laws of attraction, because it's kind of the same thing, but it's so controversial because they're like, well, don't cut God out of it, and you're not trying to. But it's like, I write my stuff down. There's things that I wrote. I posted this like months ago. 2020, I'm writing in my journal. By 2022, I will not be here anymore. Where I'm currently at, I will be in a new location. I will have a new job. I will have another property. I will have another stream of income. All these things. So to find that today is like, yo, I really made that happen. Even before I got orders here, I was throwing shit out my house on trash day like a year before I got these orders. And just like, so it's like this law of attraction is real. Like you can't even deny it, but you don't want to discredit God and like all of the things that he does. Cause I mean, I can tell the difference in myself when I'm moving with God and when I'm not. When I'm moving on my own and just trying to figure it out versus when his hand is behind me and everything is aligned and blessed and it's so much easier. So I guess, how do you not separate the two, but how do you vouch for the two? Because they
Yeah,
do go hand
yeah.
in hand to me.
Okay, that's a great question. Okay, so I believe that every single book, philosophy that's out there is pretty much derived from the Bible, right? The Bible says, so a man thinketh as he is.
Mhm.
As a man thinketh, so he
So
is,
is he,
right?
yeah.
And so,
Mhm.
those affirmations is a representation or an example of that, right? So, if I'm recreating those neurological pathways in my mind, hey, I am successful. I am manifesting that. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And so when you speak those things into existence, those are affirmations, right? The Bible also talks about generosity and sowing what you reap. So all of these like energy, vibes, all of those
Mhm.
books and materials and philosophies are all like biblical principles, right? So people like to take it and put it their own twist on it. But in truth, like everything that you need is in the Bible. Proverbs teaches us how to interact with one another, how to speak to one another, how to treat one another.
Mhm.
Psalms is, how to communicate, praise, worship. Like everything is truly taken from the Bible, right? So manifestation is absolutely biblical and real. So is the law of attraction, right? Reaping what you sow. And so I practice those because they are biblically based. They're biblical
Mhm.
principles. However, um, is a very fine line between biblical principles and tapping into demonic entities. And so you just have to make sure that what you are practicing is derived from the Bible, and you can go out and research other affirmations and laws that are supposed to increase your value or your worth or your insight or self-respect or whatever it is that you're seeking, right? But being very careful because when they start substituting certain words, or when when people start like crystals, astrology, like that's
Mhm.
tapping into fortune telling, which is against biblical principles. um just making sure that, hey, if it's matching what you're reading in the Bible, then absolutely practice it, apply it to your life. And if it doesn't sit right within your spirit, there may be some demonic entities. A lot of people burn sage, right? And it's supposed to get rid of evil spirits, but nowhere in the Bible does it talk about that. There was a burnt offering that was burning of herbs. I guess people can draw that type of comparison, but ultimately, I burn sage because it kills 94% of bacteria in the air. It purifies the air and cleanses the air. So it's like, if there are spiritual benefits to it, then I'm reaping those benefits. But I don't like
Like
dabble
set your
in
intention
any
and
type of, yes,
yeah.
exactly,
Okay.
exactly.
No, I think that's interesting. Well, the only other thing that I will say, when I think I read this book for the first time for like in 2017, I was in Africa on a deployment and they didn't have Wi-Fi in the galley. It was like a Navy ran, so I would just go read and eat. But so and I'm trying to remember which agreement it was, but it basically speaks to unlearning things, right? So the Bible has, a code that you're supposed to go by, and a lot of this can probably be chalked up to religion, but it talks about if you believe something, then it becomes true. As you're a kid, you're impressionable. Sex before marriage, all of these different things, and you punish yourself for the set of beliefs that you have growing up. So it takes a long time to not only unlearn them, but to stop punishing yourself for those things. So I'm not even going to hold you. High school was popping, like plenty of sex before marriage, okay? And then you'll hear like people talk, my grandparents, they were having kids when they were like 15, you know what I mean? So sex before marriage back then, if you're 13 or 15, like bro, I barely get my period. Like, of course that's easy to go by now, but everybody's in their 30s and before they're starting families. And so now it becomes a real thing of like abstinence and um refraining from all of that. And I think that that's so interesting because there were so many things that I would tell myself that I didn't deserve or I didn't whatever, because I felt guilty because I was raised not to want those things, not to lust after certain things, not to do those things, and of course everything in moderation. But I had to give myself grace. It took a long time for me to like undo that and give myself grace. And I feel like making it plain and simple in terms of like laws of attraction in ways that I could understand it, especially because I'm from the South and everything is like, well, just pray about it or just give it to God. But like, no, how do I really get through these feelings that I'm feeling real feelings? Okay. Like I can't just be like, God, I'm feeling these feelings. And then he's gonna talk back to me right now and tell me whatever. So those channels um helped break it down for me. And for a while, I did not resentful, but if I would see somebody and they were just like going after, or just speaking like, and then God this and then God that, but they don't tell you the why behind that, or they don't share the real feelings that you go through behind that, I would feel like honestly like it was bullshit. Um, but now I'm getting a better understanding of the both and how to use them hand in hand. I don't got it down completely but I just when you spoke of the law of attraction, it took me off on a tangent because I feel like I don't really talk about it a lot. Religion and spirituality is like politics, is like, these things that people hold close to themselves. So I kind of wanted you to just expound on that and in your experiences with that. Um we talked about this a little bit. What can a man offer a woman that can give herself everything? And I think you were just saying like just the thoughtfulness of it all. Like, yes, I can already do this. So what a man can bring you peace, a man can make your life easier. Is there anything else that they can do that you feel that you can't give yourself? Let's say that. Is there anything a man can do for you that you feel you could not do on your own?
I am not going to be naive and say that I do not need a man. I do believe that, the fact that we were derived from a man, right? Because God created Adam from dirt and then created woman from man. Like
Yeah.
we're supposed to have that covering. We're supposed to have that leadership. I definitely need that spiritual lead
Okay.
from a man. I need that safety. I need that security. I need provisions. I want a provider. I want a protector. And I need that comfort. There's when I when I finish a long day of work, like there's nothing like coming home to somebody who just makes you laugh and you
Mhm.
guys just want to watch your show together and
Yeah.
cook dinner. Like there's just nothing better than that companionship and that connection. that you have with your man, you know?
Yeah.
So those are things that I can't give myself, but I stay busy in the interim.
Okay. So for where you are now, for where you are now, do you think that you'll just like enjoy the single life and just kind of, build up your own life? Do you want to still date? Do you like how you
I
feel?
love dating. Oh my gosh, I'm spoiled rotten. I am like it's gonna be and may the best man win because I um I really do enjoy dating. I find that sometimes I can be a little bit like just impatient, you know. I did get married so quickly that I feel like a man knows within, a year whether he wants to marry you. There's no 2 years, 5 years, let me
Mhm,
see, like, I'm not going for none of that. I'm not trying to be nobody's long-term girlfriend. That is not
mhm,
my role, that is not my position. I am a wife. So, what I have to offer is, like that wifely support. You're not gonna have me walking around here taking care of you like I'm your wife, and then you just maintain this
mhm,
disconnect from me. And so, no, everyone has an expiration date in my life, and if you don't come with those intentions rather quickly. I'm not going to say the time frame out loud, but in my mind, there's a time frame on where you need to, then it's a wrap. It's over. I can't be sitting around waiting for you to decide if I'm the one. I feel like if I'm not the one after this certain amount of time, then you're still looking. And
mhm.
so, yeah, I love dating. I am looking forward to getting married again. I it has to be to the right person, though. It really has to be to the right person because I need to enjoy someone else in my space. I have so much gratitude and solitude for my individual space that in order for someone to infiltrate it, you got to come with it.
I like that. I um I don't know. It's like I listen to what you're saying and I feel like, so for example, let's say you started dating somebody and they're a very busy person and you know for yourself, like let's say don't hit me up after 10 o'clock or don't like if you're not going to be able to do something, then communicate that, let me know. Um, but if they've been living their life a certain way, just like how you've been living your life a certain way, how do you make that compromise? Like where you're holding on to your stuff, but trying to be understanding of their schedule and their life and everything that they have going on. Because I think sometimes a lot of men feel like they have to do all the yielding, they have to do all of the compromising in the beginning up front before they even know, or before women are willing to do the same. But I also feel like that's necessary because men be playing games. Not to say women don't, but it's like, no, I feel like men do have to make that move. And if you feel like the way that they're moving isn't really conducive, how like do you wait around to see if they compromise? Is it worth the whatever, or do they just get up out of there real quick and like now neither one of us gotta worry about it?
I mean, I need to be wooed. Like, and I'm a firm believer of the old cliche that you make time for things that are important to you. And
Mhm,
so I haven't really had that issue where someone refuses or has lacked the ability to give me time, attention.
mm,
Um, you know, things evolve organically. Like, I never really had to force my way into someone's life or have them accommodate me a certain way. Um, I think just by my presence and after a few conversations, like whether you're willing to put forth the effort or not.
yeah.
And some dudes may excuse themselves and be like, you know what, you're just a little bit
Gracefully
more,
bow out.
and that's fine. And there's no hard feelings. I appreciate you not wasting my time. But in truth, no, I do. I feel like every meaningful relationship in my life has naturally evolved.
I think that's beautiful. I'm working on it. I'll be so patient. People be playing in my face all day. Whatever. Be trying to be nice. Oh, I understand. Oh, that's great. No, it's
Nah,
no,
hell
it's
no.
fine. Girl.
No, but I also make it very clear, like, you're not gonna get too comfortable disappointing me. So, you
Mhm.
cancel once, maybe reschedule twice. Granted, the type of man that I want, he's gonna be busy. He's gonna have a lot of priorities, a lot of
Mhm.
obligations, lots of responsibilities. However, I too have priorities, responsibilities, and obligations. And so, when yeah, when you integrate someone into your life, like, it should come together. It shouldn't have
Yeah.
to be that much effort. And if it is that much effort, then you're forcing it.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed. So, kind of coming towards the end, do you think that high value men and high value women are held to a different standard? Do you think it's a double standard, basically?
Yeah, yeah. I was listening to this interview the other day, and this man was talking about how, on a chessboard, the king rather, representing the man, can only move one place at a time, where the queen can
Mm,
move everywhere, all over
yeah.
the board. You play chess?
I'm not good at it, but I will try every
Okay.
time. I lose
Okay. Yeah.
every time.
So the queen has, no limitations on where she can go on the board, whereas the king, one move at a time. And that's just a representation of the work that men have to put in order to
Make a move.
in order to become successful, or become just highly sought after, highly valued, right?
Mhm.
So, like, him he made every single move, every single step that he's made in his life was very deliberate and calculated, which resulted in him being able to buy a yacht, right? Whereas the queen, all she had to do was be in the right place at the right time, look a certain way, and she's on that yacht.
Yeah.
Like, just the power that she has. It's intentional. And so, men, yeah, they do have to work harder. And that's why, as women, we have to be, when they're doing what they're supposed to do,
Mm,
we have to be so supportive. They have to come to us to be built back up. They have to come to us to be restored. They have to come to us for that peace and that love and that comfort. And it's just like, hey, when you come back, I pour into you and just build you up for the next day to go out into the world and just be, comparing yourself against others, to be crucified, to be looked down upon, whatever it is that they go through emotionally or mentally. It's just our job to kind of to pour into them and
yeah.
lift them up again. So yeah, there's definitely two standards. Not to say that one is more important than the other, but that girl who might get on that yacht, I'm not saying that she's a high value woman, but the opportunity was there.
Mhm.
So there is a double standard for sure.
I agree. I never looked at it like that, but I do agree. Even when I talk to men and they're talking about how more specifically with Black women, like, you have to be this and you have to be that, and so sometimes they go to other ethnicities because they're more peaceful, they're more whatever. I even had somebody the other day, they basically said Black women think that because of their hard, their degrees, their, fat ass or whatever the case may be, that that's going to be enough to keep them. Whereas when people are speaking about Asian women or Hispanic women, white women, whatever, they speak more about their, like their inner, like they're more peaceful, they're more submissive, they're more
Submissive.
whatever.
That's
Bruh,
right.
I'd be like, because why are you not taking her all your problems? That's why she's submissive, bruh, because you're bringing me all your bullshit. So I think I think if you run into a man that is like that and is intentional and that can appreciate that, then oh my God, I didn't know what that was. I was like, girl, behind you
Ah,
with your dog. But I think that that's interesting because men do spend a lot of time trying to establish themselves in a way that they're equal amongst their peers. And honestly, this is on the record. I'm gonna just say it, whatever. Men in their 40s, like, I used to think 40 was so old, but the more I come across, different types of men in their 40s are just so like cool with life. Like they seem to know like what's going on. They seem to be more confident. And then I was like, that's probably how long it takes for real for you to get to a place of like like simultaneously success, simultaneously confident in yourself, simultaneously like, you know, all of the pieces to come together. But then by the time you're 40, like you don't want no more kids. So then like where does that leave us? I don't know. Um,
Yeah,
but I
yeah.
think that that's interesting. So we're gonna close off with a segment that I call Crack the Code. And basically, I just ask, I'm just gonna ask one or two questions because honestly, we've been talking and I know you have things to do. But the one that we will do today is like what are your woman essentials? Like whether it's a material thing, whether it's something that you just have to have as a woman, like what are those things or thinga, if you will.
Damn, that's such a broad question. My okay, we'll just start off with something simple, right? The most valuable thing in my house, if ah, damn, this is tough, right? If my house was burning down, I'm gonna grab my Bible and this little, document protector that I have for all of my important documents. But the one thing that I cannot live without otherwise is my heated blanket, my heated mattress. But when I can't have my heated mattress, it's going to be my heated blanket, right? It is everything to me. And maybe it's just because, I am sleeping by myself these days. And so that's like that night, that comfort. But that is like, it's just everything. It's just, I love my heated blanket. It brings me so much, like, I feel so just safe and like comforted and at peace when, I have my heated blanket. If we're talking, attribute wise, um, my woman essential is probably gonna have to be humor. Like these
Mm,
days, I just want to laugh. I just want to laugh. Like
yeah.
laughter is so great. It brings me up when I'm just not feeling like myself, and I've overlooked a lot of flaws, like based on
Boy.
humor. Yeah, it just disarms you. You could be so upset with someone, and when they make you
Mhm.
laugh, you be like, "All right, man, you got me. All right,
Laugh
fair
you right
enough."
out your drawers,
So
just like how they do here. Like all the red
yes.
flags, but here we are.
Yes,
That's
I love
hilarious.
somebody that can make me laugh.
Actually, I'll throw one more in there because I mentioned it when I asked you to do this. So, not implying that you had a whole bag or a spend the night bag, but if you did have one, what are like your essentials? Like, I'm heading over here, maybe for a day, maybe for a couple days. What am I packing in here to head out and stay with your boo?
Matter of fact, I got my bag. Hold on, it's right here. Okay,
Why are
let's see
you
what's in
playing?
here for real. Let me see.
Ooh.
Okay, no, all jokes aside, for real,
Yo,
the
this is
only thing that's in
hilarious.
here is my heated blanket, right? That is the only thing that's in there. I got my heated blanket in my bag and I
That's
am good to go. I'm
funny.
happy. But in truth, okay, so the other things I'm gonna throw in that bag, it's going to be uh oh, I need this chapstick that I am obsessed with. It's by Revolution. It's this like burning chapstick that just it's amazing. Anyway, so I need my chapstick. Um, I'm going to bring my eye mask to sleep with. And I need my bonnet. Oh my gosh, I love my
Facts.
bonnet, right? So my bonnet, eye mask, chapstick, and my heated blanket, and I'm good to go. I might need some slippers. I really like my feet to be nice and warm.
Mhm.
So either socks or slippers, but that's it. That's all I need. And a Skims dress. Oh my God, do you wear Skims?
No, but I've been hearing more things. Is it changing your life?
Girl, you bet. My Skims collection is probably upward of like $10,000 at this point, probably more because I
Oh,
buy her collections, right? So I just bought her new swim collection. That was like 600. It's probably way up there now, but
but the
I
fabric
have
material is
yeah, I love it. It just makes you just look, yeah. So I'm bringing a Skims nightgown, chapstick, eye mask, phone charger, bonnet, and heated blanket.
okay. All right. Well, that is going to conclude our episode for today. Thank you so much for coming, being transparent. That's one of the things that I started about conversations before. I felt like I was having all these conversations with people offline, and you get the real of certain situations. And although everybody doesn't like to be in front of the camera, I've gotten the most heartwarming texts, whatever the case may be, from putting different versions of myself out. So even if I felt like I wasn't the most put together, just me being honest about how I was feeling in that moment or whatever, um, it inspired somebody. It made somebody feel like they weren't alone, whatever. So I like doing stuff like this because what we think is just, common knowledge or, whatever the case may be is literal gold to somebody else. So I appreciate everybody that is healed enough and, good at where they're at to come on and speak with me and just be transparent about how they feel on anything, honestly. So yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for giving me your time. If you would like to provide your information, if you want people to follow you, because I know you said you have some good stuff coming up, then can you give us your whatever handle you prefer? I don't know if it's Instagram, Facebook. Where would you like people to follow you?
I can be found on Instagram at Vanilla Knows Best
Oh,
and on Facebook by my first and last name, Vanessa Valente.
oh,
Also, too, what I want you to do, right?
okay.
I want you to interview my mother. She
Okay.
has such an interesting philosophy. Interesting. She is like so unique, unorthodox, like completely out of this world that you're going to find humor in it, value in it. And she's
Yeah.
just definitely one of a kind. And so I'm going to have her, find you and
I'll
y'all
reach
have to put
out.
that together
Like,
because, yeah,
just
she would
listening to you
love
talk, I
something
was
like
like,
this.
I need to talk to this lady. Like, she she knows what's going on. No, I definitely I know a lot of people say whatever. I really am about to reach out. So but yeah, no, thank you guys for coming on. If you would like to follow us, we are on Instagram at vault_convos, and we will have season 2 dropping within the next couple of weeks. So definitely tune in for more. And other than that, thank you guys for listening. You can catch us on Spotify and in season 2 on Apple as well, or wherever you listen to your podcast. So that will be all.